want to move the whole envelope down using just the fader. So you can turn the volume down, but it'll still read that envelope. See, if I turn it down, it's still reading the envelope, but you're controlling the envelope. You're controlling the envelope as a whole, basically, with the fader now. Okay. Kind of interesting. Personally, I like to know what track has got automation, and I like the visual feedback of the feeders or the faders moving up and down. They're giving you options here, which is kind of cool. Let's go ahead and let's just leave that up and go back into read mode. Okay. And let's say you liked your envelope, but you know what, the whole thing is just a little bit too loud and you'd like to lower the whole volume. So instead of going into trim read mode, you can right click on any point and hit select all points, and then you can move the envelope as a whole. Okay, versus using the trim read mode. In other words, it's kind of redundant. If you pick all the points and move them up and down, you're in read mode and you get the feedback. So, it's just different ways to do the same thing. That's probably what confuses people. Okay, but again, I like to draw it in. I think it's more accurate. The only time I really would use a touch type situation is if I was trying to ride cymbal crashes or overheads or something like that up and down and have it sound fairly natural. That'd be about the only time I would use actually touch the fader to edit the envelope. Okay, so far all we've touched on is controlling the volume, which is fairly common use for automation. Let's get into some of the other things we can do with it. Let's click our automation box. We can also make the pan. We can play with the pan in automation. And just, personal thing, once I'm done with an envelope, like the volume envelope, which is yellow, if you click this visible, it just goes away. It still reads it because it's armed and active, but we just don't see it anymore. So now all we've got is just our pan happening here. And I'm in read mode. So when I'm in read mode, no matter what I do to this, it just keeps going back to 0. Okay. Which would be, again, we're going to be drawing it in, but if you wanted to go into write mode or whatever, you could do that as well. But I like to draw it, and to pan it, all I have to do is grab this endpoint here and move it up, and now my pan's over here. I'm going to add a point here, and let's say I wanted to pan it all the way right to left, right there, and then, just get screwy with it here and pan it up and down, and then back over to here again. Okay, and when you're in read mode, I just stay in read mode and I draw the envelopes in using the mouse. So now there it is over there, and now it's over to the other side. It's going to jump around. Okay, so that's the pan. And then at this point, we can go ahead and throw in a VST effect. Let's use one of the Reaper effects, just because everybody has one. Let's throw in the EQ. Okay, here's our EQ. Nice EQ in Reaper. Now when we go to our automation mode, now you see we've got a whole bunch of other choices which relate to the EQ. Let's turn off our pan. And let's say we wanted to boost up our high shelf when our EQ for some reason during our tune. We're going to make it visible. I'm kind of covering it up here. We're going to go ahead and make it visible, and then we're going to arm it. And we're going to change the we're changing the gain on the fourth band. And I'm just going to move this over so it's a little more dramatic here. And that's all good. So let's go ahead and say that right around here we wanted to gain up the high end, a lot for a little bit for whatever reason. Cut it through a little bit, and then we wanted to gain it back down. I don't know. Say you wanted to do like a telephone effect or something, so you'd close in the two end bands, and then let them go back out to the normal thing. But let's take a look at what that does when we hit play. I'm just hitting the space bar now because it's covered up. So there goes our envelope, and then back down. And we still got our pan going in the background there. So if we didn't want our pan anymore, we would unarm it. Now we're just back to okay. So with that, you can also control bypass. You can control all the frequencies, all the gains, all the cues. You can automate all that with the envelopes, drawing it right on the screen, or if I right click on this, I can select all points, delete them. I can also bring that back up. I wish it was just a little smaller. And right now you can see I'm in read mode, so I can't move that at all. Because the gain's at 6. So let's bring that down. Let's get back into the automation. And there's our gain again. And I believe if we switch into write mode, we should now be able to control that envelope down here. So let's see if this works. See, I can control it from down here now. Okay. Again, when you're in write mode, you got to switch back to read mode real quick. And let's see if it picks it up and reads it. Sure enough. So, and if we go ahead and we add in another recomp, which is a nice comp too for a free one. Now when we go to automation, kind of getting long now, but now we have all the parameters of recomp that we can now automate. And I think you get the picture there. That's you can do pretty much anything you want automatically. Very accurately. You can draw it in, or you can do it the old-fashioned way, ride the faders, and have it record it and play it back for you. My personal preference is just to leave it in read mode and then draw on the screen. You might like to ride the faders, in which case I would tend to say that you'd want to use touch mode, and secondly latch mode. I'm not a big fan of write mode because it's just bulldozes through the whole thing, and you could have something right and then forget to stop it, and the next thing you know you overwrote it. But there's all your uses for automation. You can automate send level, you can automate all your delay, reverb parameters, sky's the limit. Whatever you want to edit and automate, should be no problem once you get a handle on what's going on here. I think I'm going to leave you with that. I think that's a pretty good wrap up of what's going on here. Take it easy. Later.